Hi, everyone. We're going to get rolling in just a minute. We're just going to give some people more time to log on. So bear with me and we'll get started shortly. All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today for today's session on condo living. My name is Troy Viancore, and I'm with Century 21 Shield Realty here in Cornwall. I specialize in helping buyers and sellers navigate the real estate market, and today we're going to talk about everything you need to know about condo living. This session is for anyone who's considered making a move to a condo, whether you're looking to downsize, simplify your lifestyle, or invest in a property. We're going to cover the pros and cons, the costs involved, key legal considerations, and of course, what the Cornwall condo market has to offer. At the end, I'm going to open the floor to any questions, so feel free to jot them down as we go along. Before we dive in, I just want to take a moment and introduce myself, give you a little bit of background information on who I am and why I'm passionate about helping people navigate the real estate industry. My name is Troy Vinecore, as I mentioned. I was born and raised right here in Cornwall. This city has always been my home, and it's where my wife and I raise our three kids. I spent the last 20 years helping people buy and sell real estate in Cornwall and surrounding area. Over that time, I've had the privilege of working with hundreds of families, investors, and business owners to find the right properties to fit their needs. I'm also a nationally recognized award-winning real estate agent, which is a reflection of the dedication and care that I put into every transaction. I take a lot of pride in making sure that my clients are well informed and set up for success. As the owner and managing partner of Century 21 Shield Realty, I lead a brokerage that has been based out of Cornwall since 1978. Our team has deep roots in the community. We bring decades of local market knowledge to every client we work with. Beyond helping people buy and sell, I've been actively involved in shaping the real estate industry in our market. For the last 8 years, I've served on the Cornwall District Real Estate Board. I'm currently sitting as past president. This role has allowed me to work on industry policies, market trends, and advocacy efforts that directly impact buyers and sellers in our region. My goal for today's session is to give you the knowledge and confidence to make an informed decision. When it comes to buying a condo, whether you're looking to downsize, simplify your lifestyle, or make an investment, I want to help you understand the ins and the outs so you can make the best choice for your future. So one of the biggest reasons people move into a condo is the need or desire to downsize. Some common reasons for downsizing include lifestyle changes. For instance, maybe the kids have moved out and you don't need the extra bedrooms anymore. Less maintenance is always a plus. No more worry about mowing the lawn or shoveling snow. Mind you, I think some people actually enjoy mowing the lawn and shoveling the snow. Financial benefits, such as selling a larger home, this can free up a lot of equity and reduce monthly expenses. Um, I've worked with a couple just recently who have been living in a four-bedroom house for the past 30 years. Once their kids moved out, they realized that they were only using about half their house. The upkeep, the property tax, the heating bills, it just didn't make sense for them anymore. They wanted to travel and have a little bit more freedom. By selling their home and buying a condo, they were able to pocket a significant amount of money and reduce their monthly costs, all while still having a great living space in a prime location too. Downsizing is more than just a financial decision. It really is also a mindset shift. I work with clients all the time who like the idea of moving into a smaller space, and then they view that condo or that smaller home And it's really difficult for them to wrap their head around what they're going to do with all their stuff that they currently have in a much larger home. Moving from a house to a condo means adjusting to less space, but it doesn't mean you have to feel cramped. The key is to maximizing storage and focusing on what truly matters. Keep in mind that you're downsizing for a reason. Some people struggle with the idea of losing that garage or the backyard. If you're someone who loves to tinker in the garage or have outdoor space, you can consider a condo with broader amenities such as a balcony or large patio, a building with a courtyard, for instance, or even a unit in a townhouse style condo complex where you have quick access to get outdoors. Let's go into deeper about some of the advantages and disadvantages of condo living. Of course, some of the advantages include less maintenance. One of the biggest appeals of condo living is the lack of exterior maintenance. You no longer have to worry about mowing the lawn, like I mentioned, shoveling the snow, fixing the roof. The condo corporation takes care of all the exterior repairs, landscaping, and shared areas. So you don't have to worry about that. You're just focused on what's going on inside your unit. This is a huge plus for retirees, professionals with busy schedules, or even those looking to travel a lot more who currently travel often. Another benefit is the amenities. Some condo buildings offer amenities you wouldn't have in a single family home. Some of them have gyms. There's one in the area that has a pool. There's underground parking in quite a few of them. There's a party room or guest room that you can rent for your social events. And of course, security features. A lot of these buildings are secure. You need a fob, for instance, to get into the building. So there is some security there as well. Security and community feel, condos provide added security compared to detached homes. As I just mentioned, many buildings have these secured entry points. Living in a condo means you'll have nearby neighbors, which can make people feel safer, especially those who live alone. Another benefit could be cost savings over time. While there are monthly fees, condo ownership can still be cheaper over time. There's no need to budget for unexpected repairs like a new roof or driveway or window replacement. Some condo fees cover heating and water as well, which may be more stable than fluctuating utility bills in a house. Of course, we have to compare some of the cons of living in a condo and potential drawbacks. So you will have monthly condo fees. These fees never go away, even if your mortgage is paid off. So you need to expect that. Fees vary by building, but typically range from about $255 to $600 plus, depending on the type of amenities and the maintenance costs that are associated with that building. We're going to dive into condo fees shortly. Less privacy. If you're somebody who's used to being alone and having your own space, you'll be sharing walls, floors, and ceilings with your neighbors. Some buildings have good soundproofing while others don't. If you value total privacy, condo living might not be the best fit for you. Rules and restrictions are another potential downfall. Many condos have restrictions on pets. Some allow pets, but maybe have restrictions on weight and breed. Rentals, if this is an investment for investment purposes, some buildings prohibit Airbnbs or short-term rentals, so make sure we're looking into that. Renovations, you may not be able to change floors, knock down walls, install washer dryers without board approval. So even though you do own the unit itself, you still have to notify the board and get permission on some of these changes. Shared decision making is also a potential downfall. Every condo has a board of directors, which is made up of unit owners who make decisions about fee increases, building upgrades and renovations, and special assessments, which we're going to talk about soon. So if you're looking for something that's maybe more important to you, but it's not a priority on the board's list, then you may have to wait for some of these decisions to come through before any changes can be made. All right, condo fees are a major factor in ownership, of course. Let's break down what they typically include so you're familiar with these. Of course, common area maintenance. This covers all shared spaces, including hallways, lobbies, and elevators, landscaping, and snow removal. Parking lot and underground garage upkeep is something that's also included in these. Your building insurance. So the condo corporation insures the building exterior, common areas, and liability coverage. You will still, however, need your own insurance to cover the inside of your unit and its belongings. Condo insurance is a lot cheaper than house insurance because the exterior and common areas are covered by the corporation. For instance, I've seen content insurance for a unit as low as $150 a year, which is extremely cheap compared to what you're paying in a detached home. Sometimes these condo fees include certain utilities. Some condos include heat, water, or hydro in the monthly fees, but not all of them. So make sure you know exactly what your fees covered. Newer condos tend to have separate meters. So for the newer buildings, you're usually going to pay your own heat and hydro. Some of the older buildings in the city do include the electricity and the water, though. You also have part of that condo fee that goes to reserve fund contribution. We're going to really dive into reserve fund shortly, but a portion of these condo fees go into a savings account for major repairs, such as roof replacement, elevator repairs, underground parking maintenance. But again, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into reserve fund shortly. In addition to condo fees, there's definitely other costs that you need to be aware of. We have the reserve fund contribution. This money is set aside for future repairs and maintenance. You want to make sure you have a well-funded reserve, which means fewer surprises for unit owners. For instance, if a building has an old elevator but a strong reserve fund, owners likely won't need to pay out of pocket when it comes time for replacement. Special assessments, this kind of falls under that category. This happens when the reserve fund isn't enough to cover the major repairs, and owners are required to pay their share, which can sometimes be in the thousands. We're going to get into special assessments pretty heavily shortly. Property taxes, even though you own the condo, you still have to pay property taxes, just like in your detached home. Tax rates vary based on location and building value. So make sure that you know exactly what these fees are that you're getting into with your purchase. Insurance, as I mentioned before, the condo corporation insures the building, but you do need to insure your personal belongings, and you'll have to have your own liability for inside your unit in case somebody gets hurt. Utilities, of course, as I mentioned, sometimes they do include them. Majority of the time, they don't. So some condos do include these in the fees, while others separately bill for hydro, water, and or gas. So always check what's included before buying. All right, let's talk about one of the most critical financial aspects of condo living, and this is the reserve fund. This is one of the biggest things buyers overlook when purchasing a condo, and it can have a huge impact on your financial future as a condo owner. So what is a reserve fund? Well, a reserve fund is basically a savings account that the condo corporation maintains to cover major repairs and long-term maintenance of the building. Every condo owner contributes to this fund through their monthly condo fees. Some examples of what a reserve fund covers, reserve fund could cover roof replacements, depending on the type of roof that it is, every 20, 30 years, maybe more. A building will need repairs, maintenance, and a new roof, which can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Elevator repairs and replacements, I mean, a single elevator replacement can cost, $100,000 plus. Underground parking repairs, so cracked concrete, drainage issues, resealing parking garages, this can all be extremely expensive. Windows and exterior maintenance over time, windows, balconies, and exterior walls will need repair. So this is something we want to make sure that there's enough money in the reserve fund for. HVAC systems and boilers, if a building is older, has essential heating or cooling system, these systems do require major servicing and eventual repair. So that's another example of where these reserve funds do go. A healthy reserve fund is crucial for maintaining the condo building without placing unexpected financial burdens on the owners. Here's why it matters. It prevents special assessments. If the reserve fund is too low, the condo board may impose a special assessment, which means each owner will have to contribute extra money to cover these major repairs. And these can be huge unexpected costs. The reserve fund is also there to keep buildings well maintained. Well-funded condo board can address repairs on time rather than delaying them due to lack of funds. Delayed maintenance can lead to more serious and expensive problems down the road. Having a healthy reserve fund also prevents steep fee increases. So if the reserve fund is too low, a condo board may increase monthly fees to boost contributions. And sudden fee hikes can, over time, make your condo unaffordable. Now, what happens if the reserve fund is too low? The owners will likely face issues, kind of what I've touched on already, such as higher monthly condo fees to increase these contributions. Special assessments, if there's not enough money, then the owners will have to pay a one-time fee for major repairs. Delayed maintenance, leading to property deterioration and ultimately potentially lowering values of units. Difficulty reselling. Buyers may be hesitant to purchase in a financially unstable condo. So we want to make sure that these reserve funds are in good shape. If a building has low condo fees compared to others in the area, it could very well indicate that the reserve fund is underfunded. Low fees might seem attractive at first, but they often lead to steep increases later on. So it's just something to be conscious about. Before you buy a condo, always request and review the status certificate. This document includes the reserve fund study, which outlines the total amount in the reserve fund, future expected repairs, and whether the fund can cover them, and any planned fee increases or special assessments. A few key things to look for, reserve fund amount, so how much money is in the account. While there's no universal rule, most experts recommend a fund equal to at least 10 to 20% of the condo's total operating budget. Take a look at recent contributions. If the board has increased contributions steadily, they are likely being proactive about any future costs or any future needs of the building. Upcoming repairs, if the building is older and has major repairs coming up, but the reserve fund is low, this could very well be a red flag. So just something you want to be aware of. How to protect yourself before buying. Before purchasing a condo, always review the status certificate. Have your lawyer review it to assess the financial health of the reserve fund. Look at the age of the building. Older buildings require more maintenance, so a strong reserve fund is even more critical. Ask about special assessments. Find out if there have been any recent special assessments or fee increases. And compare condo fees. If the fees are too low, it could mean that the reserve fund is underfunded. By taking these steps, you can ensure that you're buying into a financially stable condo, so you can avoid any unpleasant surprises down the road. Let's talk about something that every condo owner dreads. This is a real concern for people getting into to a condo or exploring the option. Is the special assessment. This is an unexpected cost that owners may have to pay on top of their regular condo fees when condo board doesn't have enough money in the reserve fund to cover major repairs or upgrades that are needed. Special assessment, again, is a one-time fee that the condo board charges unit owners when, one, the reserve fund is too low to cover any of these major expenses. An unexpected repair is needed, structures such as structural issues or major water damage, for instance, or the building needs upgrades that were not accounted for in the budget. These assessments can be anywhere from a few $100s to thousands per unit and must be paid by all condo owners. Who decides when a special assessment is needed? Well, special assessment is decided by your condo board, which is made up of elected condo owners. The board is responsible for managing the building's finances and ensuring that the condo corporation has enough funds to cover these expenses. So here's how it typically happens. First off, an issue arises, a major repair or unexpected problem is identified. The condo board reviews the reserve fund. After that, the board checks whether there's enough money in the reserve fund to cover the repair. If the fund is too low, then they have to find a way to cover these costs. After that, the board consults with the reserve fund study. So every few years, your condos are required to conduct a reserve fund study. This is an independent financial review that assesses the condition of major building components, how much money the condo corporation has set aside for some of these repairs, and whether upcoming repairs are properly funded. After that, the owners are notified. If a special assessment is necessary, unit owners are informed by a letter or at a condo board meeting. The board has to explain what the money is for, how much each unit owner must pay, and when the payment is due. After that, got to pony up. Condo owners must pay the special assessment. Typically, when this happens, you have a couple options depending on what was established through the board of directors. You can pay the full amount up front, or you can pay in installments over a set period of time. And then failure to pay could result in legal action or even a lien on the unit. So in Ontario, condos are governed by the Condominium Act of 1998, which does outline the financial obligations of the condo board. This law does require that every 3 years there's regular reserve fund studies. There's transparency in financial reporting, and condo owners are to be informed about major repairs and how they will be funded. So you need to be kept in the loop on these things. A condo board has the legal authority to issue special assessments if needed, but they must provide the owners with clear explanation why it's necessary and what they're looking at. Here's a question sometimes: can you refuse to pay a special assessment? Well, the short answer is no. When you buy a condo, you are legally bound by the financial obligation set out by the condo corporation. If the owner refuses to pay, the condo board can charge late fees. They can place a lien on the unit, which means an owner cannot sell or refinance until the debt is paid, or they can take legal actions in extreme cases. The condo board can initiate foreclosure proceedings, which I haven't seen, but I have heard horror stories about it. Special assessments can be a major financial burden, but they can also be avoided with proper due diligence. The more you know about the condo's financial health before buying, the better position you'll be in to make that smart decision. When buying a condo, one of the most important documents, if not the most important documents to review before finalizing the purchase, is the status certificate. This document provides detailed snapshot of the financial and legal health of the condo corporation, and it helps you avoid costly surprises down the road. So basically, a status certificate is again, a legal document that provides buyers with essential financial governance information about the condo corporation. It helps you understand the financial stability of the building. Any pending fee increases or special assessments have to be listed on that status certificate. Condo rules and restrictions, you're going to want to make sure you know what you're getting into and you can review those, and whether the condo corporation is involved presently with any lawsuits, which is also important to know. It's essentially your roadmap to understanding what you're getting into before purchasing the unit. Why and when should you request a status certificate? Well, of course, when you're making an offer on a condo. If you're a buyer of a resale condo, you should always include the condition of your offer in your offer that allows you to review the status certificate with your lawyer before finalizing the deal. This gives you time to identify any red flags there might be and ask questions before you commit to the purchase. It's also important if you're a current owner and you're considering selling, you may want to get a snapshot of what things currently look like. Having a recent status certificate ready can also speed up the process and make your unit more attractive to buyers once they review it and realize that everything is good. Could speed up the process. And also, if you're buying a pre-construction condo, of course. While new condos won't have full status certificates yet, developers must provide disclosure documents outlining financial estimates and the condo's declaration. We're going to dive into that a little bit after too. Why you need a recent and up-to-date status certificate? Well, the status certificate is only valid as of the date that it's issued. And since condo corporations make financial and operational decisions regularly, an outdated certificate may not reflect the current fees, assessments, or any legal issues that are taking place. Always request a new status certificate before purchasing the unit. Never rely on one that is more than a few months old. Always request a new status certificate. Like I mentioned, status certificates that's 6+ months old may not include recent fee increases, planned special assessments, lawsuits or legal disputes involving the condo corporation, and any recent changes and rules and bylaws. The certificate is typically valid from 30 to 60 days. I would go on the lower end of the scale, and if there's not one that's recent, then I would request a new one. It's so important to review one that's as up to date as possible. Why do you request a status certificate? We've touched on this. The status certificate is prepared by the condo corporation or the condo corporation's appointed property management company, and can be requested by the buyer or the buyer's realtor when purchasing the unit, the seller when listing their condo, or even a current condo owner who wants to review the financials, because you have the right to do that at any time. In Ontario, the condo corporation must provide the status certificate which within 10 business days of that formal request. And there is a fee. It's typically $100 to $150. It's $100 in our area. I haven't seen it any more than that, but there could be extra fees involved if you're looking at for it to receive it in a time that's shorter than the 10 business day period. Of course, the status certificate, like we mentioned, includes everything you need to know about the condo's financial and legal status. Here's some key sections of that status certificate and what you're going to see. First off, the financial health of the condo corporation, the most important part of the status certificate, of course. This section shows the reserve fund balance and whether there's enough money set aside for major repairs, any deficits in the operating budget, so is the condo running at a loss, and any upcoming special assessments that you need to be aware of. It also covers condo fees and potential increases. The document outlines how much you'll pay in monthly condo fees and whether any increases are planned. That has to be stipulated on that status certificate. It can also show you if the current owner is in any arrears when it comes to any of these fees. That's something you're going to want to be aware of. A condo board can raise fees at any time if they don't have enough funds to cover these expenses. So you want to make sure you're reviewing that. It also covers the any special assessments. If a special assessment has already been approved, the status certificate must disclose it. If the board is discussing future assessments, then that may be mentioned in the board's meeting minutes, of course, which is included as well, and your lawyer should also review those. It includes any legal issues and lawsuits. So the section will disclose any ongoing lawsuits involving the condo corporation. A lawsuit against the condo could mean higher fees or assessments in the future if the corporation loses the case. If a condo is being sued by a contractor or former owner, it could signal for poor management or financial issues. And it also includes the condo rules, registry restrictions, and bylaws, which you want to know. The section includes rules about pets, rentals, noise, renovations, and more. If you have specific lifestyle needs, such as owning a pet or you want to rent out the unit, make sure the rules allow it before you commit to purchasing. Before you finalize the condo purchase, take these steps to avoid surprises and protect yourself. Always request the status certificate and ensure it's recent. Review the financials and ensure the reserve fund is healthy. Look for any fee increases or special assessments which could impact your cash flow, down the road. Check for any ongoing lawsuits which may signal some financial trouble in the future. And review condo rules to ensure that they align with your lifestyle. By taking the time to properly review the status certificate, you're able to make a confident, informed decision and try to avoid any costly mistakes down the road. A condo purchase is a long-term investment, and the health of the condo corporation directly affects the value of your unit. So taking these extra steps to review this status certificate before buying can save you from unexpected financial burdens and ensure this is a right investment for you. Every condo has a set of rules and bylaws that owners and residents must follow. These rules can greatly impact everything from whether you can own a pet to how you use your balcony, for instance. Understanding these regulations before you buy is crucial to avoiding surprises and frustrations later on. Condo rules aren't random. They are put in place by the condo corporation to ensure that the building is well managed, financially stable, and remains a desirable place to live. These rules are established through the condominium declaration. This is a legal document that creates the condo corporation and outlines the fundamental rules of ownership. It includes details about who is responsible for maintenance, how fees are collected, and how common areas are governed. It covers your condo bylaws. These bylaws cover the operational side of the condo, including how the condo board operates, how meetings are held, and how rules can be enforced. The condo rules and regulations are in there too. These are day-to-day living rules that owners and residents must follow. And they cover things like, again, pets, noise, renovations, balcony use, parking, and of course, short-term rentals. It's important to remember that these rules can vary widely from building to building. Could be smoking in one unit, non-smoking in another building, smoking in one building, non-smoking building could be another one. Pet-friendly condo in one building may have strict pet restrictions in another. I've seen some where you're allowed one pet. I've seen where you're allowed two pets, kind of thing. Some buildings allow for Airbnbs, while others completely ban short-term rentals. So just stuff to be aware of. Examples of common condo rules and policies, pet policies. Like I mentioned, some condos allow pets, but they may have restrictions on weight limits, breed restrictions, or total number. There's always noise rules, so many condos have quiet hours, often between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., to limit noise complaints. Excessive noise from parties, loud music, or even heavy walking can lead to fines or warnings from the condo boards. Just a tip, if you have an issue or concern about noise, look for a building with concrete floors instead of a wood frame one. They tend to have better soundproofing. Common bylaws are also renovations and decoration restrictions. You may own the condo unit, but it doesn't mean that you can renovate however you want sometimes. Many condos require board approval before you go ahead and change flooring, install washer, dryer, or any plumbing fixtures, for instance, or especially when it comes to removing walls inside your unit. Even balconies are usually regulated. Some condos don't allow barbecues. You can't go hanging your laundry on it there to dry, for instance, or even placing certain types of furniture outside. They want to make sure that they're maintaining a particular image at times. There's always bylaws on visitors, visitor rules, parking. Some condos assign parking spots while others sell or rent them separately. Visitor parking is strictly enforced in some buildings, meaning guests may need to register to have a certain time limit. Some buildings don't allow commercial vehicles or oversized trucks to park in resident spaces. And there's always restrictions on short-term rentals. Not always, but there could be. Some buildings completely ban short-term rentals. Others allow it with certain restrictions. If you're buying a condo as an investment, check the rental policy before purchasing. Some buildings have restrictions and limit the ability to rent it out. How to know the condo rules before buying? One of the biggest mistakes buyers make is not reviewing the condo rules before purchasing the unit. We see a lot of people focus on the reserve fund, but they don't fully review the rules and bylaws before purchasing. Always request that status certificate again, which will include these bylaws so that you can review. Ask the property manager for a copy of the rules, before purchasing. You can get your hands on a copy of the bylaws so you know exactly what's going on inside the building before even submitting an offer. Speak to current residents if you can. Talk to somebody who already lives in the building and get a sense of how strictly rules are enforced. There are rules. Some of them are very, very minor ones. How strictly will these things be enforced? And maybe it's important to you and maybe it's not. And of course, consult with your lawyer. A real estate lawyer can help you through the condo's rules and flag any areas of concern. Condo rules exist to maintain order, safety, and harmony in the building, but they can also limit your lifestyle choices depending on what you're looking for, if you don't check them beforehand. One of the biggest decisions that buyers face when considering a condo is whether to buy a brand new pre-construction condo or an established resale unit. Both options have advantages and risks, so it's important to understand what you're getting into before you make that commitment. Buying a pre-construction condo, what you need to know. First of all, how the deposit works. When you purchase the pre-construction condo, you don't get a mortgage right away. Instead, you typically pay a deposit in installments to secure your unit. In Ontario, deposits for new condos typically range from 15 to 25% of the purchase price. A lot of times, payments can be made in stages. So 5% at signing, 5% 90 days after that, 5% 180 days, et cetera, et cetera. The deposit is held in trust by the builder's lawyer, which protects your money. Can you get your deposit back? It's a common question. If the builder fails to complete the project or cancels the development, you're absolutely entitled to a full refund of your deposit, which is protected under the Ontario law and the warranty program. However, if a condo is delayed but still being built, you usually cannot get your deposit back unless the delay exceeds what is allowed in the contract. So make sure you're reviewing that properly before signing anything. What about if you don't like the changes? So developers reserve the right to make minor modifications to floor plans and layouts and finishings. If the builder makes a substantial change that significantly affects the unit size, for instance, the view or its features, you may have the right to walk away and get your deposit back. Always review the agreement of purchase and sale with your real estate lawyer before signing that any of these condo developments have. Are condo fees established before buying? One of the biggest unknowns with a pre-construction condo is the actual cost of the condo fees. Builders will provide an estimate of condo fees in the sales agreement, but these are just projections. After the building is completed, the condo corporation reviews the actual cost, and fees may increase significantly. I had a client who bought a condo out of town. We sold their house here. They bought somewhere else out of town. It was a pre-construction condo. The fees were expected to be $300 per month. But once the building was completed, the actual fees turned out to be $450 per month, which is substantially higher. So how to protect yourself? Look at the budget provided by the builder to understand what's included in the fees. Ask about a cap on increases. Some builders limit how much fees can go up in the first year or the first couple years. And expect that condo fees will actually go up from what you're told and from when the building is completed. And it could very well be 10 to 20% higher than the initial estimate, which is what I would suggest is fairly common. Let's talk about an established condo. With existing condos, you have a clearer picture of the building's history, financial, and condo fees, but surprises can still happen. What happens if condo fees increase between waiving your conditions and closing? Once you waive your conditions, you are locked into the purchase. You're responsible for the agreed upon price, but condo fees can still change before you take possession, especially if you have a far off closing date. If condo fees increase between waiving conditions and your closing date, you still can't back out of the deal unless you negotiated some sort of condition allowing you to do so in your agreement of purchase and sale. You'll still be responsible for paying these new increased fees. Before finalizing the purchase, you could always request a copy of the condo board's meeting minutes to see if there's any discussion about potential increases in fees. This is important more. You're going to get a status certificate. It's going to tell you if anything's planned, but this could be very important. I've seen closings pushed off for 6 months. Whether the people downsizing or selling their house or taking their time, just not looking for a quick closing date. So this is important when it comes to far off, especially when it comes to far off closings. What happens if a special assessment is issued before closing? This is a major concern for buyers. What if you agree to buy a condo and then discover in between waiving your conditions and the closing that there's a special assessment that's about to take place? If a special assessment is announced before the closing date, the seller is usually responsible for paying for it in this case. I would make sure that there's a stipulation in the agreement of purchase and sale, so there's a clear understanding of this between the buyer and the seller. If the special announcement is announced after your closing, then of course, you as the new owner will be responsible for that payment. How to protect yourself? Again, put something in the agreement of purchase and sale clause stating that any special assessments issued before closing must be paid by the seller, just so it's clear. I think push came to shove, they would be responsible for that anyway. But just so everything's clear and everything's on the up and up, and there's zero confusion when it comes to this. Review the status certificate carefully. The document's going to disclose whether the condo board is considering a special assessment or not. And of course, always ask your lawyer to check for any pending financial issues with the condo corporation before waiving those conditions. Here's some key differences between buying new and established condo. Of course, we talked about the deposit. It's different if you're buying new construction or you're getting a mortgage on the unit. You want to know what your condo fees are. Expect them to increase for a pre-con development. Special assessments, you're not going to have any at the beginning, but for a new build. But you do want to be aware of anything that's happening. So both pre-construction and resale condos have advantages and risks, and your decision should be based on, first of all, your budget. Can you handle potential fee increases or assessment costs? Your timeline, do you need the place now or can you wait for the construction? And your risk tolerance, are you comfortable with uncertainty? Do you prefer knowing that all the costs up front? This could very well have implications on what you choose to do. Before you buy, always do your research, consult your real estate agent, consult a real estate lawyer, protect yourself with the right conditions in your offer. That way you can confidently move forward. Just going to leave this here for a minute. I put together a little comparison of some of the condo developments in the city. I also included a rough idea of price ranges and condo fees so that you can kind of get a quick snapshot of what's happening. Keep in mind that some of these units in the buildings may be larger and as such will have higher condo fees. Some of these units have security, elevators, and underground parking, while some only have outdoor parking and are walk-up units. Each building is different. Each bylaws are different. Condo fees are different. The types of finishings in the buildings are all different. You have higher end ones. You have walk-up units. You have buildings in security buildings with elevators. So it really depends on the style that you want to get into. This brings us to an end of today's information session. I hope it's given you a better understanding of what to expect when buying a condo, whether you're downsizing, looking for a lifestyle change, or even an investment, as we talked about. Before we jump into any questions, I just want to leave you with a few final thoughts and summarize some of this for you so you can make the best decision. First of all, know your buying power, especially if you're downsizing. If you currently own a home and you're considering to move to a condo, one of the first steps you should take is understanding your buying power. The best way to do that is to have a home valuation. I'm happy to offer anyone a home valuation to help you determine what your current home is worth in today's market. This gives you a realistic idea of how much equity you'll have to put forward towards your condo. It also helps you set a budget and understand what price ranges to shop in. If you're selling first, it also allows you to time your sale correctly so you can transition smoothly into a condo. If you'd like to schedule a valuation, let me know. All my contact information is right up here on the screen. You can email me, you can text me. Feel free to call me or even come into the office. I'm happy to chat and set up an appointment with you. Secondly, always view multiple units in multiple buildings. Even if one you're not interested in, you may discover something about it. One of the biggest mistakes buyers make is falling in love with the first unit they see. Well, that's not always a bad thing. It's important to compare different buildings, look at how condo fees and amenities differ, get a feel for the community and the building management. A unit may look great on the inside, but if the building has poor financials, high turnover, or bad management, could be a bad investment in the long run. I always recommend viewing at least 3 to 5 units in different buildings to compare, walking through the common areas and speaking to residents if possible, and checking how well the building is maintained. This helps you make an informed decision and ensures that you're not rushing into the purchase that might turn out not to be the best fit for you. And then, of course, you have to be ready when the right condo comes up. Once you've narrowed down which building you're really into, the next step is to stay ready for when that perfect home unit does come on the market. Good condos sell very quickly because we don't have a lot of them in the city, especially in well-maintained buildings with reasonable fees. If you know which buildings you want, then you can set up alerts. We can set these alerts up for you so that you're the first to know when the listing comes up. As soon as it hits the market, you get the email and it's all automatic, which means that you're ready to go. This gives you an opportunity to act fast and be prepared with financing when the right opportunity comes along. Being proactive is the key to finding the perfect condo before somebody else jumps in and grabs it. All right. So if you have any questions, whether it's about condo fees, buying process, selling your home, I'm happy to help. You can contact me anytime. I've committed myself to educating about the real estate market here in the city. So I'm always happy to talk shop. And again, all my contact information is on here. So feel free to grab that. I'm going to send everybody an email with the link to this presentation so you can watch it at your leisure as well, and you'll have my contact information on there as well. So what we'll do is we will open the floor up to any questions, and I'm just going to stop the recording. And I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today. So we'll go ahead and do that now.